Okay, so the next stack of the long notes here, again, it's a CS80. I haven't used the CS80 in a long time, but I think it's cool. Uh, I think it's very old school sounding, which is great. I'm just gonna touch base real quick here, back to that first CS80. Um, EQing, I love this CLA guitar. Honestly, sometimes I just slap it on something that needs to pop out, and it makes a massive difference to me. Honestly, I do it on the vocals sometimes even. So let's hear it. You see the difference? It kind of really pops it open and makes it a lot in your face, which I really like. We can get rid of this layer for now because it's one thing about the CS Arturia stuff. It really does eat up a lot of your CPU. Another layer of the CS. Okay, so this is what I was going for with the long notes. I wanted an arpeggiator and something that we had in the breakdown. I think it's essentially the same one actually. So as you can see here, I'm using the arpeggiator from Ableton. You have the same thing in Logic now. Thank God in Logic X you can use that arpeggiator, so you don't have to do it within the synthesizer to be more precise. Honestly, play with it. I don't really have any set rules for arpeggiators. As long as they work and make sure that they're playing off of the same notes, obviously the same chord progression that you have in the song. Now we have we have a silent here layer. So this is just a typical silent sound that adds a bit of that, that crisp. Once again, you got, and it's actually doing some arpeggiation, which is faster moving chords. Let me actually unfreeze this so I can go into it real. Oh, it's actually not using the arpeggiator. I was gonna use it as the arpeggiator, but as you could see, it's muted. So no. Okay, so the side chaining is coming off of the also the bus, the group. So next, this is a classic Max Vangeli trick that I have been using for many years. Learned this from Eric Pritz. High root note of a string. You literally take the root, if you're in, let's say, A minor, whatever, you take that A, you put it really high, and you literally sidechain it throughout the track on one note. Massive difference. It adds a massive difference. On the drop, it adds that impact. Another classic thing that I do, one note, again, a little bit of an arpeggiation from the Nexus. Together they sound like this. It doesn't seem like much, but it adds a massive drive to the drop, I guarantee you. Together with that little pluck that I showed you earlier right here, it does a world of difference right here. Listen to this. And it just adds that massive impact. Now, for the second little push here, we have some more of those one note arpeggio. This one is doing some cool. This one. Do you see? It's all about finding. It's about finding some cool grooves. That it's a one note arpeggiated type of a sound, straight up preset from Nexus and layered together. As you can see, it creates some really cool and interesting vibe to it. Just to give you an overview here of the actual grouping that I have. I love basic compression once again, some EQing, These filters are obviously doing the automations, cutting, and stuff like that. Sidechaining, and that's about it. As you can see, it's a lot of stacking. I know a lot of people keep, you know, I read a lot of stuff all the time about less is more and whatnot. As much as true as that is, sometimes it's difficult to find that perfect sound. So keep stacking. The most important thing about stacking, just make sure that if those frequencies are clashing, if you have two pianos that are doing the same thing, then try to cut out some low mids, some highs. Kind of like imagine this whole process as if you were trying to, you know, squeeze, you know, put a bunch of rocks into a bottle. You know what I mean? You have to find the right shapes that fit next to each other in order to really fill up that bottle. That's kind of like where a lot of you guys probably know about the importance of RMS, which is kind of showing the true loudness of your songs. And a lot of guys are not getting that RMS because their sounds are thin. And as much as squeezing as you can be doing on your master with your limiters, unfortunately, you're never going to achieve that high level of RMS without really packing in those frequencies. That's why it's so important to fill up that spectrum with your frequencies. You gotta put your bass, low mids, high mids, highs, and really fill it up. And the best way to do it is actually take some of your favorite records and look at the analyzer and look at the frequency analyzer and look what it's doing and see where the frequencies are in that particular record.